Okay, so let's just start with a really uncomfortable truth. Right now, at this very moment, there is almost certainly someone out there who instantly disliked you the moment they met you.
Wow, Maria. Way to ease us in. That's, uh, cheerful.
I know, right? But think about it. You walk into a room, a party, a new job, and you feel it, that vibe. Someone just doesn't click with you. I remember starting a new job years ago, and this one woman from day one, she just looked at me like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. I spent weeks, Gabriel, weeks racking my brain. Did I say something wrong? Was my handshake weird? Did I remind her of her evil twin? I even started to doubt myself, thinking, am I secretly an awful person? It's a terrible feeling.
The evil twin theory is a strong contender. We've all been there, though. It's a uniquely human and deeply unsettling feeling. It taps right into that primal fear of being excluded from the tribe.
Exactly. So that's the central question for today's episode of the Behavior Code. Why do some people instantly dislike you? And we're not just talking about a mild preference, we're talking about that visceral gut level reaction. And here's the psychological tease. What if most of the time it has almost nothing to do with you at all?
I love that. Because our default is to self-blame, right? To immediately think, what did I do? But you're saying we need to flip the script.
Completely. So, over the next 35 minutes, we are going to unpack 7 of the big, hidden psychological drivers behind this phenomenon. We're talking insecurities, cognitive biases, past traumas, even things as simple as bad timing. We'll explore the science behind first impressions and why they're so hard to shake.
And we want to be really clear about the purpose here. This isn't about making you paranoid or encouraging you to overanalyze every single interaction.
No, not at all. It's the opposite. This is about understanding. It's about giving you the tools to depersonalize these encounters. When you understand the why behind someone's reaction, it just loses its power over you. It's emotional armor.
That's a great way to put it. Emotional armor. So, as you're listening, we invite you to think about a time this has happened to you. Maybe it's happening right now with a coworker or a new acquaintance. Keep that person in mind, and let's see if we can decode what might be going on under the surface.
All right, let's dive into the deep end. Reason number 1 why someone might instantly dislike you. You trigger their insecurities. This is a huge one, and it's all about the tricky business of the human ego.
Oof, this is a big one. The idea that someone might dislike you not for your flaws, but for your strengths.
It's huge, and it's so counterintuitive. We think, if I'm successful or confident or well-spoken, people will like me more. But for someone who is struggling in those exact areas, your very presence can feel like a spotlight on their own perceived shortcomings.
Right. It's a concept called identity threat. If someone has built part of their identity around being, say, the smartest person in the room, and then you walk in and you're incredibly articulate and knowledgeable, you are, without saying a word, threatening their sense of self. Their ego feels attacked, and it has to defend itself.
And the ego's defense mechanism isn't to say, wow, this person is impressive, I should learn from them. That requires humility and security. The ego's defense is to find a reason to discredit you. It's a much easier, protective path. It's a cognitive shortcut to restore its own sense of status.
So they'll rationalize it. They won't think I'm intimidated by her intelligence. They'll think, she's such a know-it-all, or he's so arrogant.
Exactly. They create a narrative that makes it okay to dislike you because that narrative protects them from their own insecurity. I saw this play out perfectly with a friend of mine. Let's call her Sarah. She is one of those people who is just effortlessly stylish. She has this amazing, creative fashion sense. She started a new job, and one of her colleagues, from day one, was just cold and dismissive.
Okay.
And Sarah, being Sarah, tried everything. She complimented her work, asked about her weekend, brought in donuts. Nothing worked. The woman would give one-word answers or just ignore her. Then, months later, another coworker mentioned that this woman used to talk all the time about wanting to be a fashion designer, but she never pursued it because she was afraid she wasn't good enough. She had settled for a job she didn't love.
Ah, there it is. So Sarah, just by walking in the door looking fabulous, was a living, breathing reminder of this woman's abandoned dream.
Precisely. The dislike had nothing to do with Sarah's personality, her work ethic, or the donuts. It was a purely internal reaction happening inside her colleague. Sarah was just the screen on which it was projected. So if you ever feel like someone resents you for no reason, ask yourself, what strength of mine might be highlighting an insecurity of theirs?
That's a powerful reframe. It moves you from victim to, well, to an observer of human psychology. It gives you perspective instead of pain, which leads us really nicely into the second reason.
Yes, reason number 2, you remind them of someone from their past. This is all about the brain's filing system and its sometimes unhelpful shortcuts.
This one is all about transference. It's a Freudian concept, but you don't need to be a psychoanalyst to see it in everyday life. Our brains are like giant filing cabinets of past experiences.
Right, and every person we've ever had a significant relationship with, good or bad, has a file. Your overbearing boss from 10 years ago, the high school bully, the ex who cheated on you, they all have a file.
And that file isn't just data. It's packed with emotional memory. So when you walk in, a new person, the brain doesn't see a blank slate. It rapidly scans you for familiar patterns. Does your tone of voice match anyone in the files? The way you laugh? Your haircut?
It's a cognitive shortcut, a heuristic. The brain goes, hey, he kind of sounds like Uncle Jerry, and Uncle Jerry was always critical of me. And before you've even finished your first sentence, wham, all the negative feelings associated with Uncle Jerry get slapped onto you.
And the person doing this has no conscious awareness it's happening. They don't think, he reminds me of Uncle Jerry. They just feel, I don't like this guy. I don't trust him. It's a gut feeling, but the gut is getting its information from a very old, very biased file.
I have a perfect example of this. I was once at a friend's dinner party, and her new boyfriend just hated me on sight. He was challenging everything I said, making little passive-aggressive digs. It was so uncomfortable.
That sounds awful.
It was, and I couldn't figure it out. Later, my friend called me, totally embarrassed. She said, "Oh my God, I am so sorry. After you left, he told me that you look and sound exactly like his sister, who he has an incredibly toxic and competitive relationship with."
So you were literally paying for the sins of a sibling you've never met.
100%. He wasn't reacting to me, Maria. He was reacting to a lifetime of baggage with his sister. And once I knew that, the whole interaction changed in my memory. It went from being hurtful to just kind of sad and really, really not about me. It's pure projection.
It's such a freeing realization. And it's a two-way street, of course. We do it to other people, too. We all have our own Uncle Jerrys and toxic siblings filed away. And it's important to remember this is entirely unconscious. He wasn't deliberately being a jerk. His brain was running an old program designed to protect him from a perceived threat, a threat that was actually a ghost from his past. He was fighting a battle with his sister, and you were just the stand-in.
Absolutely. Which brings us to reason number 3, which is a bit more in our control, but also incredibly subtle. It's that your nonverbal signals are being misread. This is where the silent conversation we have with our bodies can get us into trouble.
Body language, the silent conversation we're always having. We make judgments about people in milliseconds, a process psychologists call thin slicing.
Yes, before you've even said hello, people have assessed your posture, your facial expression, your eye contact, your energy level, and they've formed a first impression. And that impression is notoriously sticky.
The problem is, the signal we think we're sending isn't always the one that's being received. There's a lot of room for interpretation or misinterpretation. And this can be especially true if you're neurodivergent or from a different cultural background than the person you're meeting.
Oh, massively. Let's run through some common examples. Okay, you might be shy or socially anxious, so you avoid direct eye contact and keep your arms crossed because it makes you feel safer.
Right? What you're feeling is nervous, but what the other person might be reading is aloof, uninterested, or arrogant.
Exactly. Or another one, some people have a very neutral resting face. They're not sad or angry, they're just thinking or listening.
The infamous RBF, resting, bitch face.
Yes, you might be feeling perfectly content, but the other person sees a slight frown and thinks, she doesn't like me or she looks so judgmental. What you feel internally and what your face is broadcasting can be two completely different things.
We have to be careful with that one, though, because for years, women have been told to smile more to seem less intimidating. This isn't about forcing yourself to be performatively happy, but about being aware of the signals you might be sending unintentionally.
And this can be cultural too. The amount of personal space that feels comfortable, how animated you are when you speak, whether you touch someone's arm, these signals vary wildly across cultures.
That's such a good point. So, this is an area where a little self awareness can go a long way. This isn't about changing who you are, but about understanding how you might be perceived. Maybe we can do a quick self awareness checklist.
I like that. Okay, checklist item 1. What's your default facial expression? If you don't know, look at yourself in the mirror when you're not on. Or better yet, catch your reflection in a window when you're not expecting it.
Good one. Item 2. How's your posture? When you enter a room, are you slumped over looking at the floor? Or are your shoulders back, head up? That sends a huge signal of confidence and openness, or a lack thereof.
Item 3. Your handshake. Is it a limp fish or a bone crusher? A firm, confident handshake is one of the oldest, most wired-in signals of trustworthiness.
It's true. Just being mindful of these small things can sometimes prevent a miscommunication before it even starts. You might still get disliked, but you'll have a better sense that it's probably not because your face was accidentally telling a story you didn't intend. It's about closing the gap between your intent and your impact.
All right, moving on to reason number 4. And this one takes us back into the realm of things that are really not about you. And that is, they sense social competition.
Ugh, the status game. Whether we like it or not, we are hierarchical animals. We are constantly, often subconsciously, sizing each other up and figuring out where we fit in the pecking order of any given group.
It's wired into us from our earliest tribal days. And if someone perceives you as a potential threat to their social standing, their resources, or their influence within a group, their brain's alarm bells can go off. It's a primal protective instinct.
This is classic office politics, right? The established star employee sees the new hire who is super talented and charismatic.
Exactly. The star employee's subconscious is thinking, whoa, this person could take my spot. They could get the next promotion. They could become the boss's new favorite. And that threat triggers a defensive, often hostile reaction.
And again, they're not consciously thinking this. They're just feeling an irrational dislike. They'll find reasons to justify it. Oh, she's trying too hard, or he's a little too slick for my taste. This is called the confirmation bias. Their brain has decided it doesn't like you, and now it will actively look for evidence to support that conclusion.
It's not just in the workplace. Think about introducing a new partner to a tight-knit group of friends.
Oh, yeah. If one of those friends feels like their position as the best friend or the funny one is being threatened by this charming, hilarious new person, you can bet there's going to be some friction. It's a subconscious battle for social real estate.
So, if you get that instant dislike vibe, especially in a group setting where hierarchies are already established, like a workplace, a family, or a group of friends, it's worth considering the context. Are you a new element that's disrupting the existing social chemistry? And this isn't always about malice. Sometimes it's just about equilibrium. A new person in a group changes the entire dynamic. It requires effort to adjust. And some people's immediate reaction to that disruption is resistance, which feels a lot like dislike.
It has nothing to do with your worth as a person. It's just a reflection of their fear of losing their place in the tribe. And there's not much you can do about that except be aware of it, not take it personally, and not get drawn into their status games.
Which is a good transition to reason number 5. This one is less about social status and more about core identity. People might instantly dislike you simply because your values clash with theirs.
Right. We're talking about fundamental worldviews here, the things we hold to be most true and important. It's about our moral or political teams. And there's a fascinating area of psychology called moral foundations theory that explains this so well.
Lay it on us, Maria.
So the theory goes that our moral judgments are based on a few innate foundations. Things like care versus harm, fairness versus cheating, loyalty versus betrayal, authority versus subversion, and sanctity versus degradation.
And different people and different cultures prioritize these foundations differently. For some people, fairness and compassion are the absolute top priorities. For others, it might be loyalty to their group and respect for tradition and authority.
Exactly. And we can pick up on these cues from people very quickly. The way you talk, the jokes you make, the opinions you express, they all signal which moral foundations you build your worldview on.
So if you, for example, are someone who highly values individual liberty and questioning authority, and you meet someone whose entire moral framework is built on respecting tradition and the established hierarchy,
Sparks are gonna fly, or more likely, a cold wall of dislike is going to go up. To them, your casual questioning of rules might not seem refreshing. It might feel dangerous, disrespectful, or even immoral. They're not just disagreeing with your opinion, they are feeling a visceral, gut-level aversion to your entire way of being.
and this explains so much of the political and social polarization we see today. When we dislike someone for their political views, we're often not just disliking the policy. We're disliking what we perceive to be their underlying moral character.
Totally. So if you find yourself in a situation where the dislike feels fundamental, almost philosophical, it could be that you've just run up against someone from a different moral tribe. And in those cases, trying to win them over is often a fool's errand. The gap is just too wide.
That's a tough one to accept, but it's true. Now, let's shift gears from the grand and philosophical to the simple and situational. Reason number 6, you met them at the wrong moment.
Ah, yes. It's not you, it's me, and my terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day.
Exactly. This is all about mood and emotional spillover. Human beings are not rational, objective machines. Our perception of reality is massively colored by our current emotional state.
If you're in a great mood, the world seems full of friendly, interesting people. If you're in a foul mood, that same world is full of annoying idiots.
So, you walk up to someone new, all smiles and positive energy, but you have no idea that they just got off a horrible phone call with their boss, or they have a splitting headache, or they're worried about a sick family member.
Their capacity for social grace, for openness, for giving a new person the benefit of the doubt is just zero. They have no bandwidth for it. Your cheerful hello might land on them like an assault.
It's emotional spillover. The negative feelings from one area of their life are leaking out and contaminating this brand new interaction with you. They form a negative first impression of you, not because of anything you did, but because you had the misfortune of being the first person they encountered while they were in a bad state.
And because first impressions are so sticky, that initial negative taint can be really hard to wash off. It's the ultimate case of bad timing. You just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, emotionally speaking.
So, if someone seems inexplicably hostile or shut down right from the get-go, it's always worth considering. Maybe I'm just a bystander in a bad day that started long before I showed up. Giving them that grace can save you a lot of heartache.
I love that. Okay, we've arrived at our final reason, number 7, and this one is maybe the most profound. They instantly dislike you because they see a version of you they don't like in themselves.
This is the flip side of the insecurity coin we started with. It's not about a strength you have that they lack. It's about a flaw you display that they share and have repressed. Carl Jung called this shadow projection.
The shadow is the part of ourselves that we don't want to admit exists. Our greed, our laziness, our anger, our neediness, all the traits we've been taught are bad. We push them down into the unconscious.
But they don't go away. They just wait. And when we meet someone who openly displays a trait that is living in our own shadow, our reaction can be intensely, irrationally negative.
It's because we're not just seeing them, we're seeing a reflection of the part of ourselves that we have rejected. For example, have you ever met someone who you just found insufferably loud and attention-seeking?
Oh, absolutely.
Jung would say that your intense dislike might be because you have a part of you, a shadow self, that secretly craves the spotlight, but you've suppressed it because you were taught it was impolite or vain. So when you see someone else living it out, it's infuriating.
That's fascinating. So the things that irritate us most in others can be signposts to our own disowned selves. If you can't stand people you perceive as lazy, it might be because you're terrified of your own desire to rest and you never let yourself stop.
Exactly. We project our shadow onto them so we don't have to look at it in ourselves. So when someone instantly dislikes you, there's a small chance you are embodying a part of their shadow. Perhaps you are more assertive, or more emotionally expressive, or more unapologetically ambitious than they allow themselves to be.
Your freedom is triggering their internal prison.
That's a beautiful way to put it. So here's the reflection prompt for this one. Think about someone you instantly disliked. What was the specific trait that bothered you so much? Now ask yourself, with total honesty, is there a tiny, repressed part of me that is also like that, or wishes it could be? It's deep work, but it's transformative.
Phew. Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground. Insecurities, past trauma, nonverbals, social competition, values, bad timing, and shadow projection. The big question now is, what do we do about it? How do you handle it when you're on the receiving end of that instant dislike?
Right, the practical application. The first and most important thing is to stay grounded. Your first instinct will be to either get defensive and hostile back, or to fawn and people-please to try and win them over.
Fight or fawn, classic responses.
Yeah, and both of them hand your power over to the other person. You're letting their reaction dictate yours. The goal is to pause, take a breath, and remember everything we just talked about. Remind yourself, this is likely not about me. This is about their stuff.
That internal mantra is key. This is their stuff. It creates a bit of emotional distance and keeps you from getting sucked into their drama. From that grounded place, your second move is to choose curiosity over defensiveness.
I love that. Instead of seeing them as an adversary, see them as a puzzle. You don't have to say it out loud, but just wonder to yourself, I wonder what's going on for them today. I wonder which of these 7 reasons might be at play here.
It turns a painful experience into a field observation for your own understanding of human behavior. It's a total power move. You stay polite, you stay professional, but you don't contort yourself into a pretzel trying to get them to like you.
Which brings up the final point, knowing when to walk away. You are not obligated to win everyone over. Some people, for their own complicated reasons, are just never going to be your biggest fan. And that is okay.
It's more than okay. It's a reality of life. You can't be everyone's cup of tea. If you've been kind, respectful, and open, and they are still consistently cold or hostile, you have every right to simply disengage. Conserve your energy for the people who do see and appreciate you.
Absolutely. Your peace is more valuable than their approval.
So, to recap this whole fascinating and sometimes uncomfortable topic, when someone instantly dislikes you, it's rarely a reflection of your true worth.
Instead, it's a glimpse into their inner world, their insecurities, their past, their values, their mood, or their own hidden shadow.
And the empowering message here is that you don't have to be a victim of their internal weather. By understanding the psychology at play, you can depersonalize the rejection, stay grounded in your own sense of self, and choose how you want to respond.
It's a shift from what's wrong with me to what might be going on for them. And that shift is everything. It's the key to navigating the social world with more compassion for others and, most importantly, for yourself.
Well said. So we want to leave you all with a call to action. We would love to hear your stories. Jump into the comments and tell us about a time you experienced instant dislike, either giving or receiving it, and which of these reasons resonates the most with you.
Yes, let's learn from each other. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Behavior Code. Next week, we're flipping the script and talking about a very different phenomenon, the halo effect, or why we sometimes instantly like someone, and the surprising dangers of putting people on a pedestal.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's the other side of the same psychological coin. Until then, be kind, be curious, and don't let anyone else's stuff dim your light.